Good afternoon everybody, welcome back to our thought for the day. I hope you're enjoying this week's particular set of thoughts. Every day we're going to do a little internet challenge. You know, the internet is always full of these little fads that people do, and then you're supposed to nominate a friend and send it off to them. And so I'll do each one because this week I want to think not about the negative challenges that we face, but the positive challenges the Bible gives to us, the things that the Bible calls us to do that are good and helpful and can really make a big difference in our lives. So we've done some silly things so far, and today we're going to carry on. So today's challenge involves a tea bag and a cup. Very simply, the tea bag has to land in the cup. So I'm going to set it up now and see if I can throw this tea bag into this cup. Well, I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking that was kind of easy, and you would be right. That was quite straightforward. I think we could probably ramp it up a few notches and do something quite a bit more difficult, and I think you'd agree, spectacular. Let's go. What a fantastic shot. I'm sure you will agree. Now that took serious skill and practice on my part. But let's just get serious for a minute or two. The reason I've done that today and that challenge is all about aiming for something. Aiming for something and then the joy of getting there when you've focused on the right thing. Life is sometimes talked about in terms of being like a race. We're running through the race of life. And races, if you've ever run a race, can have lots of moments where they're lots of fun to do and times when your muscles ache and you're hitting the physical wall and you're exhausted and you're tired. And life can be the same kind of. We can have moments where we have great joys, great up times, and times when we really feel quite challenged as well. And the way to get through life, I guess, if you take the analogy of sport and running races, is to have perseverance, is to have a goal, but also hard work. In the book of Hebrews, the writer is addressing a group of Christians who are struggling for their faith, have been persecuted for their faith. And this particular part, which I'm about to read to you, the beginning of chapter 12, really is a fantastic part of this book where he's just talked about the great heroes of the faith and he's trying to encourage these Christians to carry on the race of their faith, keep going. Let me read verse 1 of chapter 12 to you. It says, "Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles, and let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us." The writer of that line isn't talking about an actual running race. He's talking about the race of faith, about keeping your faith when the whole world around you is shaking, is wobbling, when life is crumbling around you, and particularly he's addressing how you keep your faith when people are persecuting you and coming against you because of what you believe. And in chapter 11, if you get a chance to read it, we get this wonderful list of heroes of the faith. People like Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and many, many more. And it starts, since we're surrounded by that great cloud of witnesses, these men and women who have stood for God over the years, since we're like them and they're our spiritual family, see the race ahead and run it with your head down, your shoulders and fists pumping, serve God no matter what comes your way, run that race to its very end. And the principles in that first verse, really you could apply not just to spiritual things like the race of faith, but you could apply to the everyday difficulties we face. We need people to cheer us on, we need a goal, we need perseverance and stamina, and that sort of head down, dog-eared determination. But the writer of Hebrews isn't finished there. he talks in verse 1 of running the race with perseverance. But then in verse 2 of that same chapter, he gives us the most important reason why we carry on when things are tough. He says this. He says, run the race marked out for us, fixing our eyes on Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of faith. For the joy that was set before him, he endured the cross, scorning its shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. Fix your eyes upon Jesus. And I love this particular part of Hebrews because these Christians are having a hard time. You may well be having a hard time at the moment. You may be finding this isolation and lockdown difficult. You may be suffering and struggling with other emotions that aren't anything to do with the coronavirus. You may be struggling with your faith. You may be struggling with what other people think of your faith. And so the writer of Hebrews says, look at all the people that have stood where you've stood and done well and carried on, be encouraged by them. But then he says, the way to really survive, the way to really win that race is to have your eyes fixed on Jesus. What's this got to do with a teacup and a tea bag? Well, very simply, the prize was the cup. My focus, my eyes were fixed on that one moment, and everything was put into getting to that prize. And Jesus is infinitely more important than teacups and silly games. He is the one that if we make him our goal, if we fix our spiritual eyes, our emotional eyes, our actual eyes on him, seeing what he did at the cross, and he triumphed at the resurrection, when we look at how he dealt with persecution and suffering and trauma and trial, when we make him our goal, we focus and throw everything at him, we know we can run this race no matter how difficult it gets and win. The challenge is positive. Fix your eyes on Jesus. Do that every single day. Do that every moment where things are difficult. God bless you, and we'll speak to you again tomorrow.